Rain drizzled over the cracked pavement as the sun dipped behind the gray horizon, painting the small town in shadows. A group of rugged bikers rumbled down the main street, engines growling, leather jackets soaked, headlights cutting through the mist. They were known as the Iron Hearts, a brotherhood of men who had seen too much, lost too much, and trusted too little. But that night, something none of them could have imagined was waiting for them. A little girl standing in the middle of the road, waving her tiny hands, tears streaming down her face. "Please! Please arrest me!" she cried out, her voice trembling, her school dress muddy and torn. The bikers screeched to a halt. The leader, a towering man with a gray beard named Mason, jumped off his bike. His heart, hardened by years of scars and loss, skipped a beat at the sight of the trembling child. And that was the moment everything changed. Before we dive into this powerful true life story, take a second to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Kindness Universe, because stories like this remind us that compassion still lives in unexpected hearts. Mason crouched in front of the girl, lowering his sunglasses so she could see his eyes. "Hey, sweetheart," he said softly. "Why do you want us to arrest you?" The girl's lip quivered. Because I did something bad." The other bikers exchanged glances, confusion written across their faces. They were rough men, tattoos, scars, and battle-hardened souls, but none of them could look away from this child. Her hands were shaking, her knees scraped, and her small backpack hung open, stuffed with what looked like an old teddy bear and a notebook. Mason's voice softened. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Emma," she whispered. "All right, Emma," he said gently. "What's this bad thing you did?" She sniffled and pointed toward the forest behind them. "I ran away, but I had to. Mommy's hurt, and nobody listens. I thought maybe if you arrested me, the police would have to come. Then they'd help her." The street fell silent except for the steady patter of rain. The bikers looked at Mason, waiting for his cue. His hand clenched into a fist. He'd seen pain, war, loss, betrayal, but nothing compared to the fear in that little girl's eyes. "Show us where your mom is," he said finally. Emma led them through muddy fields and overgrown weeds. The forest loomed dark and heavy, the only light coming from Mason's flashlight and the dim glow of bike headlights. As they moved deeper in, they came upon a small broken-down shack, half collapsed, windows shattered, roof sagging. Inside they found a woman lying on the floor, pale and barely conscious. Emma ran to her, sobbing, "Mummy, I brought help." The woman's eyes fluttered open. "Emma, you shouldn't have," she whispered weakly before coughing. Her lips were dry, her skin fevered. It didn't take a doctor to see she was seriously ill. Mason knelt beside her, checking her pulse. "She's burning up," he muttered. "Dehydrated, maybe infection. Should we call an ambulance?" one of the bikers asked. Mason nodded, pulling out his phone. But the signal was dead. "We'll have to take her ourselves." Two of the bikers lifted the woman carefully while Mason turned to Emma. "You did the right thing, kid," he said quietly. "You didn't do anything bad." Emma's tearful eyes widened. "Will she be okay?" Mason met her gaze. "We'll make sure she is." The Iron Hearts roared down the empty road, their formation tight, engines echoing like thunder through the valley. In the middle of the group rode a black Harley with Mason at the wheel, Emma clinging to his leather jacket, her mother laid across a sidecar, wrapped in a blanket. The wind howled, but for the first time in a long while, Mason felt something he hadn't in years: purpose. At the nearest hospital, nurses rushed out as the bikers rolled up. They helped the woman inside while Emma held Mason's hand, refusing to let go. The doctors worked quickly. Hours passed. The bikers waited in the lobby, their tattoos and chains drawing wary glances from staff and patients. Finally, a nurse approached. "She's stable now," she said with a small smile. "If it weren't for you bringing her in, she might not have made it through the night." Emma turned and hugged Mason so tightly it nearly broke him. "Thank you," she whispered into his chest. He froze, then slowly, awkwardly, wrapped his arms around her. For a man who'd spent his life avoiding tenderness, the moment shattered something inside him. Over the next few days, Mason and his crew visited Emma and her mother, Sarah, every day. They brought food, toys, even helped fix Sarah's broken shack while she recovered. They learned that Emma's father had abandoned them months ago, leaving them penniless and isolated. Sarah had fallen sick but refused to leave home, terrified child services would take Emma away. But fate had a strange way of sending help. through the roar of motorcycles and men society had judged by their leather and scars. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Mason found himself sitting beside Sarah's hospital bed. She was stronger now, her color returning. Emma was asleep on a chair beside her. "Why'd you help us?" Sarah asked softly. Mason stared at the floor. "Because once a little girl saved me too." She tilted her head. "What do you mean?" He exhaled deeply. "I had a daughter once, Emily. She was 7. Died in a car crash years ago. I blamed myself. Got lost in anger, drinking, fights, until the Brotherhood found me. But I never stopped wishing I could have saved her." His voice cracked slightly. "When Emma ran into the road tonight, calling for help, I saw my Emily in her eyes." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes. "You saved another Emily tonight, Mason." Days turned into weeks. Sarah's health improved, and the Iron Hearts built ramps, patched the walls, and stocked the pantry of that old shack until it felt like home again. Emma would wait by the road every weekend, excited to hear the rumble of bikes approaching. She'd run up and hug Mason, calling him Uncle Mason. For a man who had once believed his heart was nothing but ash, she lit a new fire in him. But one morning, a black car pulled up outside the shack. 2 people from Child Services stepped out. They'd received an anonymous report about Emma's living conditions. Sarah, though healthier, still didn't have steady work, and the agency decided Emma needed temporary foster care. Emma clung to her mother, screaming, "No, please! I don't want to go." The bikers arrived minutes later, their engines echoing across the hills. Mason stormed up to the agents. "You're not taking her," he growled. "Sir, please," one of them said. "It's for her safety." Mason's chest rose and fell, fury in his eyes. "We've been taking care of her. She's safe because of us." But the law was the law. The agents led Emma to the car as she cried out, "Uncle Mason, don't let them take me!" "Please." Mason's throat tightened. He could barely speak. "I'll fix this, sweetheart, I promise." For weeks, Mason and his crew fought through paperwork, petitions, and background checks. They met lawyers, spoke to child advocates, even visited the town council. They weren't rich men, but they were determined. Sarah worked hard to regain her stability, with the bikers helping every step of the way, repairing homes for locals, cleaning up parks, and earning the town's trust. Slowly, people began to see them differently, not as outlaws but as protectors. Finally, one bright afternoon, the Child Services agent called. "Sarah Evans has been approved for reinstatement of custody," she said. "Emma's coming home." When the news spread through the Iron Hearts, cheers erupted. They decorated the shack with balloons, and as the car pulled up, Mason stood by the gate, his eyes glistening. Emma jumped out and ran straight into his arms. "I knew you'd keep your promise," she cried. Mason smiled, his voice low and steady. "You saved your mom that night, kiddo. I just kept the promise you started." From that day on, the Iron Hearts became something more than a biker gang. They formed a local foundation, the Guardian Riders, helping families in crisis, protecting abused children, and supporting single parents in need. Mason often said, "We might wear leather, but what's underneath is heart." And every time the rumble of bikes echoed through that small town, people smiled, knowing the roar didn't mean trouble. It meant help had arrived. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Kindness Universe for more real stories that prove love and kindness can come from the most unexpected souls. That night, as the sun set and the Iron Hearts rode off once more, Emma stood by the gate waving. Mason looked back in his mirror, her little figure glowing in the golden light. For him, the road no longer felt empty. It led to something bigger, a second chance to protect what he once lost. Because sometimes, the bravest cries for help don't come from the strong. They come from little hearts who refuse to give up on love. And that night, a little girl who begged to be arrested ended up setting a whole gang free,